British American Tobacco has over 44 cigarette factories in 39 countries. So we're talking about a huge geographic diversity here.
Right, so of course cigarettes relatively easy to manufacture. You basically dry out tobacco, crumble it up and wrap it in a little piece of paper, put the filter on the front. But remember, they've got four big
someone who doesn't smoke,
brands.
you know a lot about how to make cigarettes.
It's simple stuff. The brands though, the drive brands they call them, the ones that they're trying to move people towards smoking in all these territories are Dunhill, Kent, Lucky Strike and Pall Mall. All the others have been de-emphasized apparently.
The company has made many other famous international and local brands, or has many others rather, including Rothmans, Vogue and Peter Stuyvesant.
Peter
You left those
Stuyvesant.
out. Peter
Phew, I
Stuyvesant.
remember
those ads?
International passport to smoking pleasure.
You do know a lot about these companies. Market cap 1.38 trillion rand, PE ratio of 17 and a dividend yield of 4.2. Mia, as you said, if people are going to smoke, you may as well make money off it.
Might as well make money off it. And it sounds like Paul might have been sort of a sneaky smoker at some time.
You've got that idea as well.
Definitely, but I agree. So they're pushing the sort of the famous brands. They want to increase their market share, which they do. They do that year after year. We know this is a business, like Paul mentioned in the beginning of the show, that's actually losing steam as it goes along, because there are so many sort of organizations, regulations, etc., that ban smoking, which I'm all for. But as I said, I might as well make money off it as long as it's there. What they do is they try and contain their costs, they try and grow their market share, and they try and help governments sort of stamp down on the illegal trade. And that's the way that this company is actually making money over the years, and why they can keep on increasing their sort of return to shareholders. Yeah, also, once again, it's been outperforming the market by around 10% per year, and yeah, strong margins, etc. So it's like you said, not a difficult sort of model, and that's why they can have high margins on the business.
Paul, you've taken a heavy stand on BAT previously.
Well,
and
we
by
haven't
that I mean you're
invested
short
in
of
them.
it.
We were short of them
Yes.
in the old portfolio where we did CFD trading, so we could do that. Obviously, we can't now. There are two corporate developments which are of note. The one was that they've increased their exposure to the US market because they merged with a firm there called Lorillard. That's their American subsidiary, and they elected to maintain their stake at 40%. So they actually stuck some cash in the US, which I thought was an unusual move, because the US, like most developed countries, is an area where cigarette consumption is basically zooming down. So it's a trade-off. You've got countries like Indonesia and Turkey and...
Well, was what Mia was saying earlier, that you prefer with these companies exposure to emerging markets where that growth potential
and they
is
do
enormous.
have that.
They do have that, but they're very focused on developed. And just another thing, they're moving into those sort of e-cigarettes, quite doing a lot of research. I don't know much about it yet, but it seems like quite a big area of research and development for
Paul,
them.
you may know more about that.
You know, you see people around smoking those vaping devices, but in fact it doesn't seem to have taken off to the same extent that they'd hoped. And it's also worth noting that there has been a little bit of pushback from regulators who've said, look, it's not, the secondary smoking issue is dealt with, but nicotine is not necessarily something you want to be pulling into your lungs anyway.
Anything else we want to add to BAT before we call this one?
Well, like I say, it's always been sort of a cornerstone in the portfolios we've managed, and it's been a star performer. It was
Did we look at the share price?
Yeah,
we
I
haven't
think that's
yet.
what we need to talk
Let's have a look at that.
about.
It's going to look good. I mean, look at that.
Yeah.
It's penetrated that 600 mark. It's now well above that level. What is the share price? Is it above
Well,
700?
yes, it's about 740.
And Mia,
gosh.
you have done well. You've been invested in BAT.
We have. We've been invested in it, and as you can see there, and earlier in this year and to last year, you know, there was some great buying opportunities in this company when it was not trading expensive. And like I said, this whole sort of sector trades at levels where you pay for what you get. And it was offering a lot of opportunities. Still, it's not super expensive, but I'd wait for sort of an opportunity to get into it.
Can we ever convince you
The
to buy into
biggest
this
part
one?
of the reason that thing's going up is the weakening rand. Because remember, there's only like 12% of the stock which is traded here in Johannesburg. The rest is in London. So the London
So
trading
this is your
determines the price.
quintessential rand hedge.
Yes.
Well, it doesn't necessarily benefit from a weak rand in its core business, but certainly its global business benefits from whatever its currency variations are, and then it gets traded at the multiple down here.
Bottom line, it does benefit from a weak rand
Absolutely,
in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
That's what you were explaining.
Yeah.
Are we
I'm
going to
hot
call
on
this
it,
one hot?
yes.
Hot. Paul, could you get yourself to do it?
No,
Could you?
I'm not going to be telling people to buy this thing. No,
Not hot.
Too dirty, sorry.